Right then, Blades faithful, urgent news coming your way, and this could absolutely shape the rest of our season. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button right now and join thousands of Sheffield United fans getting the latest updates first. Ring the bell for notifications so you never miss a single story from Bramall Lane. We're building a proper community here, and we want you to be part of it. Today's episode is absolutely packed to the rafters. We've got 3 massive stories to break down, from injury comebacks that could transform our squad depth to boardroom promises about the manager's future and crucial January transfer plans that might just save our season. This is everything you need to know about where our club stands right now. So settle in, grab a brew, and let's dive straight in. Confirmed, Jamie Shackleton is back in contention and Chris Wilder couldn't be happier about it. Let's set the scene properly here. Shackleton joined us from Leeds United with genuine Premier League pedigree, having played under the legendary Marcelo Bielsa at the highest level. For those who don't remember, Bielsa doesn't trust just anyone. He's one of the most demanding coaches in world football. So when Jamie was getting regular minutes for Leeds in the top flight, that told you everything about his quality and versatility. But his time at Bramall Lane has been absolutely riddled with injuries, and it's been heartbreaking to watch. The 26-year-old versatile midfielder hasn't featured for the Blades since December 2024, when he came off the bench in our 2-0 home win over Plymouth. That's nearly 10 months without a competitive appearance. Then came another injury blow in preseason, which meant he completely missed the entire Ruben Sells era from a playing perspective, while the rest of the squad was struggling through those 5 consecutive defeats. And that humiliating 5-0 loss to Ipswich, Jamie was stuck on the treatment table, desperate to get back involved. But here's the positive news: there's finally light at the end of the tunnel for the Yorkshire lad. Shackleton played a full 45 minutes for our development side in their victory over Barnsley on Tuesday afternoon, and by all accounts, he came through it brilliantly. No setbacks, no concerns. Just a solid performance that showed he's ready to push for first team involvement again, and Wilder is absolutely delighted to have him fighting for a spot. Speaking ahead of our return to action against Watford after the international break, Wilder said, "For sure, Shax hasn't played enough for this club. He's had quite a bit of bad luck with injuries last season and also got injured in preseason. So it's good to see him back. And this is the bit that really stood out to me. He's an infectious, enthusiastic player. Just look at his Premier League appearances for Leeds under Bielsa. So for Marcelo to trust him in the Premier League, he's a good player." He was frustrated. We were frustrated. But he came through on Tuesday afternoon, got 45 minutes, so he'll be involved or in the squad on Saturday, which is a bonus for him and for us. That word infectious is crucial. When you're bottom of the championship table with just 3 points from 9 games, you desperately need players with positive energy, enthusiasm, and quality. Shackleton brings all 3, and it doesn't stop there. Wilder also revealed that Ollie Arblaster will rejoin full training next week, with an expected return a few weeks after the next international break in November. Arblaster's been another massive miss for us. He's a proper talent who can dictate tempo from midfield. Getting him back will be like a new signing. Tahith Chong is also due back around the same time, possibly even slightly earlier. Chong gives us genuine width and pace on the flanks, something we've been desperately lacking. Suddenly, our squad depth is looking a lot healthier than it did a few weeks ago. We've been so thin on the ground, especially in midfield and out wide, that Wilder's had virtually no rotation options. That's starting to change. Now, imagine what a fully fit Jamie Shackleton could bring to this team. We're talking about a player who can operate in central midfield, out wide, or even slot into defense if needed. Someone with genuine energy, quality on the ball, and Premier League experience. With us currently sat rock bottom of the championship table, having scored just 3 goals and conceded 16 in 9 matches, we desperately need players like him stepping up and making an impact. The statistics make grim reading at the moment: 1 win, 0 draws, 8 defeats. That's a win percentage of just 11.11%. We're on track for one of the worst seasons in our history if things don't turn around quickly. But getting key players back from injury could be the catalyst we need. So here's the question for you. Would you keep Jamie Shackleton for next season, or should we let him go? Has his injury record been too much of a concern? Or do you believe he can still prove his worth to this club? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think. Are you excited about his return, or are you worried he'll just get injured again? And if you're loving the comeback news and feeling optimistic about Shaq's getting back involved, smash that like button to show your support for him and the lads. Let's get some positive energy flowing. But that's just the start, because the next story involves boardroom backing, managerial futures, and some very revealing comments from our CEO. Another bombshell. Sheffield United CEO Stephen Bettis has publicly backed Chris Wilder for the rest of the season, but there's a catch. And you need to hear this. Let's recap exactly how we got to this point, because it's been an absolute roller coaster. After losing the championship playoff final, the Sunderland and Maya match that still haunts many of us, the club made the shocking, controversial decision to sack Chris Wilder over the summer and replace him with Spaniard Ruben Sells from Reading. The reasoning behind the change was apparently a shift towards a more data-driven, modern recruitment model, less reliance on the manager's personal contacts and preferences, more emphasis on analytics and scouting networks. On paper, it sounded progressive. In reality, it was an absolute disaster from day one. Things went catastrophically wrong from the opening day of the season, where we lost 4-1 at home to Bristol City. The atmosphere at Bramall Lane that day was toxic. You could feel the unease in the stands. 5 straight league defeats followed, with goals flying past us left, right, and center. We conceded to Swansea, Millwall, Middlesbrough, and then came that horrific 5-0 hammering at Ipswich on September 12th. 5 goals shipped without reply. It was humiliating. We also got knocked out of the EFL Cup by Birmingham, losing to 1 at St Andrews. By September 14th, just over a month into the season, Sells was gone. 5 league games, 5 defeats, 12 goals conceded, just as scored. It was arguably the worst start in our modern history. The club immediately reversed course, swallowing their pride and bringing Wilder back just 3 months after letting him go. It was an admission that they got it badly wrong, and credit to the board for recognizing that quickly rather than letting it drag on. Results haven't immediately improved. We've managed just 1 win from 4 championship matches under Wilder's second spell, beating Oxford United 1-0 away thanks to a late Vox goal. We've also lost to Southampton 2-1 at home and Hull City 1-0 away before the international break. But the recent 2-week break has given everyone a much-needed breather, time to reset mentally and physically before upcoming fixtures against Watford and Blackburn. Now, speaking to BBC Sheffield in a revealing 1 hour special, CEO Stephen Bettis was asked directly whether Wilder's future would be questioned if results don't improve quickly. His response? No. Chris certainly shouldn't be worried. Chris will be here throughout the season. That's a clear statement of support. Wilder has the full season to turn things around, no question about it. But here's where it gets interesting, and where you need to read between the lines. When pressed on whether Wilder has a future at the club beyond the new year, beyond January 2026, Bettis replied, "It's to be expected. Yes, yes, is the answer. You can never make promises you can't keep. But I genuinely believe Chris is the right man for the job. I genuinely believe Chris will turn the team around and start getting the results we need," he concluded. And if that's the case, why wouldn't he be here? Notice the language there. You can never make promises you can't keep. That's a caveat. It's backing, but it's conditional backing. Bettis is clearly giving Wilder the full season to prove himself, but beyond that, it depends entirely on results and whether we can climb away from the bottom of the table. For context, we've taken 3 points from 4 games under Wilder thanks to that Oxford United victory, but then came defeats to promotion-chasing sides in Southampton and Hull. Defensively, though, there's definitely been improvement. We've conceded just 4 goals in 4 championship matches under Wilder compared to 12-5 under Sells. That's a massive difference. 2 of those 4 goals came against Southampton, who are one of the early favorites for automatic promotion. So there are definitely green shoots of recovery. The question is whether we can start turning those defensive improvements into positive results. Drawing games would be a start. Picking up a few more wins would be even better. We're currently on just 3 points from 9 matches, which leaves us dead last in the championship, 3 points adrift of safety. Oxford United and Sheffield Wednesday are just above us on 6 points each. So we're not cut adrift yet, but time is running out. Here's what Blades fans need to understand. Chris Wilder is absolutely proven at championship level. His track record at this club speaks for itself. 2 promotions, including an incredible League One title win and then taking us up to the Premier League. He knows this division inside out. He knows this club, and crucially, the fans absolutely adore him. He deserves the trust and time to turn this situation around, especially given the absolute disaster we witnessed under Sells. Bettis also revealed some fascinating insights into the differences between the two managers. He said that when Sells was here, he'd speak to him about 3 times a week and see him once a week. But with Wilder, I speak to Chris 3 times a day because he's constantly in touch. That tells you everything about their different approaches. Wilder is hands-on, constantly communicating, always thinking about the next step. That's exactly what we need right now. The next step for us as a club is simply leave those horrific opening months behind, start picking up points, and rebuild under a manager who the Bramall Lane faithful absolutely adore. The international break couldn't have come at a better time. It's given Wilder the full weeks to work with the squad, implement his ideas properly, and prepare for what's essentially a fresh start against Watford. So, Blades fans, do you genuinely believe Chris Wilder will turn this around? Or are you worried about where we're heading? Do you think the board should have given him an unequivocal vote of confidence beyond this season? Or is it right to keep things conditional on results? Let us know in the comments. Your voice matters, and I read every single one. And don't forget to like this video if you're backing Wilder to get us back on track. We need to show our support for the gaffer and the lads. Now, there's one more critical story you need to hear, and it's all about January and what the club is planning. Exclusive insight: Stephen Bettis has revealed exactly how Chris Wilder and the board are planning to approach the January transfer window, and it's genuinely promising. For Blades fans, after such a disastrous start to the season, any realistic hopes of challenging for automatic promotion or even a playoff place are already fading fast. We're 9 games in, bottom of the table, and already 8 points off the playoff positions. That's a massive gap to make up, even with 37 games still to play. But Bettis has made it crystal clear that there's a concrete plan in place for January, and crucially, Wilder will have a far more active, hands-on role in recruitment than his predecessor did. This is a complete reversal of the philosophy that was tried and failed spectacularly under Ruben Sells. Speaking on that 1-hour BBC Sheffield special, Bettis explained the stark differences between Sells and Wilder. When it comes to recruitment philosophy, Chris isn't like all managers. He certainly wasn't like Ruben in that respect. Ruben was more hands-off in the recruitment process and was happy to be guided by the data and by our recruitment team. Chris is much more hands-on in the way he works, and I think everyone knows that. That's a diplomatic way of saying the data-driven approach didn't work. Sells was happy to let the recruitment team bring him players based on analytics and scouting reports without much personal input. Wilder, completely different. He wants to know exactly who's coming in, what their character is like, whether they'll fit the dressing room, and whether they've got the mentality to handle the pressure of playing for a club like Sheffield United. Here's the key difference in working styles. When Ruben was here, I'd speak to him about 3 times a week and see him once a week. I speak to Chris 3 times a day because he's constantly in touch, and I think it's just different personalities, different ways of working. But Chris is definitely very hands-on when it comes to recruitment. 3 times a day. That's not just a manager who wants to be involved, that's a manager who lives and breathes this club. And when it comes to January, that level of involvement could be absolutely crucial. Crucially, Bettis confirmed that plans are already being drawn up for the January window. I think Chris has a very clear plan at the moment about what he wants to do in January. We've looked at it in detail, and I also sent it to the board last week, so they've got clarity on where he's thinking in terms of what he wants to do. So it's not just vague ideas or wishful thinking, there's an actual plan. It's been discussed in detail between Wilder and the CEO, and it's been presented to the board for approval. That's exactly the kind of structure and forward planning we need. But wait, it's not completely set in stone, and that's actually a good thing. Bettis added, is that nailed down at the moment? I don't think it is, and I think it will change a little bit as we get closer to January. Different players will start coming into form more than others, etc. And that might change Chris's mind about the targets he wants to shift in January. But I think there's a very clear idea at the moment of where we're going and what he wants to do. That flexibility is crucial. We're still 2.5 months away from the January window opening. Between now and then, we've got 11 championship fixtures to play. Form will change, injuries will happen, players will either step up or fade away. Wilder needs the ability to adapt his plans based on how things develop. If certain positions become more urgent, he can pivot. If unexpected opportunities arise in the market, he can pounce. So what does all this mean for Sheffield United moving forward? It means we're not drifting aimlessly anymore. It means Wilder has genuine backing from the board and a clear vision for strengthening the squad. It means the recruitment approach that clearly failed under Sells relying heavily on data, without proper managerial input, has been completely reversed. We're back to a model where the manager has proper control and accountability. This is exactly what the club needed to hear after such a turbulent, chaotic year. Losing the playoff final to Sunderland was crushing. Sacking Wilder seemed bizarre at the time and looks even worse in hindsight. The Sells experiment was an unmitigated disaster, and now sitting bottom of the championship after 9 games. Having scored just 3 goals all season, it's been absolute chaos from top to bottom. But Bettis' comments suggest we finally have stability, direction, and a solid strategy moving forward. There's a plan, there's backing, and there's accountability. January could be a genuine turning point for us. If Wilder gets the players he wants and we can add quality and depth in the right positions, there's absolutely no reason why we can't climb the table and build towards something positive in the second half of the season. We need goals desperately. 3 in 9 games is relegation form. We need creativity in midfield. We probably need defensive reinforcements too, given our injury issues. The key positions I'd be looking at: a striker who can actually put the ball in the net, we're crying out for goals. A creative midfielder who can unlock defenses. Maybe a winger with genuine pace to stretch teams, and possibly a center back if our injury problems continue. So here's my question for you. What positions do you think Sheffield United must strengthen in January? Where do we desperately need reinforcements? Is it a goal-scoring striker? A creative number 10? Defensive cover? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely interested to hear your thoughts and what you'd prioritize if you were in Wilder's shoes. And if you're feeling optimistic about January and the club's direction under Wilder, hit that like button and share this video with fellow Blades fans. Let's spread some positivity in what's been a really difficult season so far, right? That's the final story covered. Let's wrap this up properly. So there you have it. Blades faithful 3 massive stories that could genuinely define the rest of our season. To recap everything, Jamie Shackleton is finally back fit after nearly 10 months out and could be involved in the squad against Watford this weekend, giving us a much-needed boost in squad depth and quality. CEO Stephen Bettis has publicly backed Chris Wilder for the entire season, with genuine hopes he'll turn things around and stay well beyond the new year, though there are conditions attached to that support. And crucially, there's a clear, hands-on plan already in place for the January transfer window. With Wilder leading recruitment decisions and the board fully behind him, it's been an absolutely brutal start to the season, no question about it. 1 win, 0 draws, 8 defeats, 3 goals scored, 16 conceded. Bottom of the championship table with just 3 points. Those are genuinely shocking statistics for a club of our size and ambition. But there are genuine reasons for optimism here if you look beyond the raw numbers. We've got one of the championship's most proven managers back in charge, a man who knows this club inside out and has delivered promotions before. We've got boardroom backing and a clear strategy moving forward. We've got key injury returns on the horizon with Shackleton, Arblaster, and Chalmers nearing fitness. And we've got January reinforcements already being planned with proper managerial input. The next few weeks are absolutely crucial. We face Watford at home this Saturday, then Blackburn away, followed by Preston at home. Those 3 fixtures before the end of October could define our season. If we can pick up 7, 8, or even 9 points from those games, suddenly we're right back in touch with the pack above us. If we continue losing, the gap will become almost insurmountable. But I genuinely believe Wilder can turn this around. The international break has given him time to work with the squad properly. Players are returning from injury. The defense looks more solid than it did under Sells. We just need to start converting performances into points. If you've enjoyed this update and found it useful, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you never miss the latest Sheffield United news. Hit that like button right now, turn on notifications so you're alerted when we upload, and share this video with your fellow Blades fans. Let's build this community together and support the lads through this difficult period. Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, whether it's about Shackleton's return and what he can bring, Wilder's future and whether you back him completely, or your January transfer wish list and which positions we desperately need to strengthen. I read every single comment and I absolutely love hearing from you all. Your opinions matter and this channel is all about proper discussion and debate. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, up the Blades. We'll be back with more updates very soon, especially after that crucial Watford match this weekend. Keep the faith, stay positive, and let's get behind the team. Come on, you Blades.